guys, Deathscyp here from Y.C.G, your casual gamer. In this episode, we are going to be recreating this cascade effect. It's a basic Blizzard I did with only the starter content from Unreal Engine. I had this request along in Season 3, but I never got the time to get to it, and I wanted to make sure I was done with Season 3 since it was dragging for a while. So now that Season 3 is done, we can get to it. So let's go. Alright, so first of all, if you're wondering where I am, I just made a little scene in the first person example right over here, and it's just the same rock everywhere using starter content like the materials that you see on screen. Just a little scene I made just for the example that we're going to create. So let's make our particle system. I already have this one over here that I made, but let's make another one, a particle fresh. We're going to do it from nothing. So P Blizzard -2. So what I encourage you to do when you make your particle system, sometimes you might not be able to discern what exactly you want to do, but most of the time the starter content is going to give you the base to get started. Because you have one of each. You have an explosion, which is a burst of energy that happens. You have a burst continuously with smoke that has color in it, a smoke over here that differs with color, a smoke that doesn't differ with color. You have ambient dust, and you even have sparks, which has collisions, so that when they touch the floor, they actually react to the floor. So all these here are little courses to themselves that you can just break it apart and make work for your do. So I'm going to go ahead and start my material using the steam lit recipe. So pretty much what we have over here is let's start up our material right over here. So this one over here. All right, so we start with the smoke. So I have a smoke and I have also the little flaky inside after. So first off, the first emitter you're going to do is smoke. Now, if you don't know what a particle system is, I strongly suggest you go check the episode first. That's going to be in the link on top, where you can go check what is a particle system and what is an emitter, because I will not go through this again. So let's just jump right into it. So the material I'm going to use is called a sub-image material. So if you go in the materials over here for the particle system, these ones, you're going to see that they have M sub UV. Now, the only thing is, right now, by default, it's going to be in lit mode. So default lit, which is not what we want right now. We want it to be unlit, but we want to keep the opacity. So what I did is I leave everything as it is. So this is the starter content as they come. I made a copy of this, so duplicate it. You can do Control W if you want on your keyboard to do a duplicate. And I made an unlit version. So what that does is that the particle color you're going to give it is going to be not interacting with the light. That way you only have the opacity to decide how transparent your clouds are, and if you want to add color after that, you can add it through the emissive, but it won't be reacting with the light per se if there's a light in your scene, which is like it is in most of the situation out there. So that's what I did. If you want to use the light, you want to keep the regular base color into it. So now that we have this, that's all we need to do for a material. Now inside over here, I want this material as an effect. So I go for the require, and I'm going to grab my unlit and just bring it inside. And now we can jump inside and make it work. So now the first thing you're going to notice is you're going to see all these little images going all over the place. This is what I mean by sub-image UV plate. So if you check out the texture over here, so I can open up the texture for you guys, you're going to see that it's a bunch of little clouds. It's hard to see, but you can see that it's all little clouds that are changing at every little bits, but you can't really see it because it's a sub UV image. So the way to use it in particle system is that you need a sub UV sub image index. And even if I put it in, it doesn't work automatically. You have to set it for the actual number. Now I know already the numbers of image on the vertical and the horizontal, on the horizontal and vertical, are 8 by 8. So if I go inside the require, I'm going to go over here and make it 8 by 8. So have the subdivision sub UV over here. I'm going to put it to linear blend and put it to 8 by 8. And right away, you have your little piece of smoke. Now from there, the color, the velocity, right away, you know that it's not going to be the right one. We want it to go on the x-axis, but so let's do it on the x-axis first. So I want it to go this way at a very fast amount. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's put it to 850, and we're going to add it somewhere else after 550. Here, this, we can have it, whatever, 0 is fine. No, actually, we're going to put it to 50 by minus 50. So that's where it's going to, where is the wind going to push that little cloud of yours? And is it going up or down? That's up to you guys. I like to do it in a range where it's going to go up and it's going to go down. So minus is going to be up and down. You can see now they're starting to move all around the place. That's going to be like your random effects so that the clouds work on screen. So like you can see over here, you can see that they go a bit everywhere in all angles, and that's what we want to recreate. Because we don't really care how they spawn. We care about how they look when they get over here. That's how you're going to see it when it gets to your screen. So that's the little magic behind it. So now we're not quite there yet. We got to work on the size. So we're going to put it to 50 by 50. And let's put this to, what did I do? I don't remember. Like I said, when I do this, I normally just tweak all these measures. You see 250 by 250. So let's go ahead and do that. So like 250, 250. Like you're probably going to play with these settings and make something a whole lot different. And I encourage you to do so, because that's what the magic is. It's just a bunch of settings, and you just play around with it till you get something you like. When you like it, save it and put it in your game. So now we have this, this setup, the initial size, the lifetime. I'm going to put it a bit higher since I wanted to. Right now it's going a bit too fast. Let's go 3 to 5. That's not bad. And right now it's always going the same. Oh yeah, the sub image. I didn't really do a sub image. You see, it's always the same image going. Is because for the required so far, I just put the UV, but I didn't make the sub image. The sub image is going to take care of moving through the images one by one. So right now, I want it to go all around the place. So from here, it starts at 0, 0. Then when it gets to 1 in the in val, that's your end lifetime of your particle. Remember this. This is the end of not even the particle, of the emitter. This here. As soon as this effect is done, this is your 1, being your 100% done. So that's your lifetime over here. So this. So at 1, you want to be at 8 times 8, which is 64, minus 1, because you never want to put the last image in, so you put it here at 63, and you see it should adapt if I did everything right. You're going to see over here that it's going to start. Yeah, you see it becomes a different kind of cloud. It's going through the motion. That's what I wanted. Now we are not, we're making progress, but we're not there yet. Still looks like a little mushroom or something coming out. So from here, I'm going to add a nice rotation, initial rotation. And right away, I didn't change anything, and it already makes a pretty cool effect. For the initial rotation, I'm going to choose a number between, I don't know. I want to go in the minuses, but I'm not sure how this goes well. So I'm going to do 0.2 to 2. See what that does. You can see this going on. There's a lot of spawning actually happening right now, so I could lower this, maybe put it to, you know what? Let's leave it at 20. Let's go with this. That's cool for now. For now, let's do this. Okay, now we have this. We have to play with the color. So the color, there's no color. So like I said, so let's move this. But we're going to use the alpha. So the alpha is how opaque your drawing is going to be. So if I put it to 0.2, you're going to see that right away. There's this nice little dim effect in it. So it's starting to look like a wind valley going through. So here I'm going to do a little effect. So I'm going to add more. So again, from 0 to 1. If you add more points, then you can choose between 0 to 1 how you want your opacity to work. So let's say at 0.2, at 20% of the length, I want it to be at 0.3. And then at 0.5, I want it to be 0.1. And then at 1, I want it to be back at 0. So then it's going to do this nice little smoky effect. All right, we're almost there. It's starting to look pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a, what was the last thing I'd like to, oh, a size by life. So this is where I crank it up a notch. So here we have 1, 1, 1. When it gets to 1, and here again, if you wanted to, you could add more points, have a nice little random effect going from 0 to 1. But I'm going to make it simple and just put everything at 10. And right away, you get this nice dim smoke. So now we have like it's generous portion of smoke going around. If I wanted to make it more like uh, variant, I could add a initial location and probably put it somewhere here and start moving it all around the place. So let's say right now I wanted to start no 1000 back, 1000 back. I want it to be a bit anywhere on the y-axis so that there's a depth behind it. And let's do it here too on the 50 here and minus 50. And this I'll put it to minus 750. So again, I'm just putting all these random numbers, and this is what it does. See, it makes the effect for you. Now, if I bring this in scene, we're going to see what it does right away. So I have, if I want to get to it fast, I can just click on Browsing. It's going to bring you to the effect. And you can see I don't have a thumbnail for it already. Very easy to change. As I see the effect happening, I click on thumbnail, and it's going to generate one right away for your new Blizzard. So there you go. Bringing it in your scene. Okay, it's going. Was it? Oh, I was following the trend. Okay, good. So let's say I put it here and I press play. Let's see what it does. So I'm gonna go in here and see. Ah, it's a not bad effect. I'm already happy with it. Like it's a bit slow, but this is something you can easily add. Like you can go inside and add a, I think it's acceleration, and put it to, what did I do before? I did it a constant acceleration. Oh no, I did a random acceleration. That way it wouldn't be the same all the time. So let's do that. So initial velocity is going on the x-axis. I'm gonna do the acceleration. I'm gonna do a like this, and I'm gonna make a number. And the reason I move the things up the module is because the way that the order works for the emitter to play things is that it goes from top to bottom. So if you put your acceleration at the end, everything else has a chance to happen before the rest. So you have to place them in order you want them to appear on screen. So be mindful for that. So I'm going to lower this a little bit. It was a bit too much out there. Like this, 77. What did I do over here? Oh, it's around like 51. So I put less. So anyways, let's try this. Like I said, it's probably going to be a little bit different. I did take time to tweak. Once I showed you all the module, I might speed up the video and just start tweaking everything, and you can pause or put it slower so you can see what I'm doing. But right now, I'm just telling you how I'm doing it. So so here, let's say I was gonna say 750. No, 200, 2500, and 250. So now we have something that's fairly fast. So how does that look in scene? See, now it's already looking, now you can see that it's not, there might not be enough spawn, or maybe it's not big enough. Like I think my size by life. Oh yeah, I forgot to put the drag. And I put it to 20 over here. So let's do that. Okay, so let's put this to 20. And I forgot to put one thing I like to use too in the location. I like to use, oh no, it's not in the location, it's in the drag and acceleration. When you put a drag, it does this over here. It like drags, well, the name says it. It drags your effect. So you can see over here how well it does it. And I can put it a little higher. It's hard to really tell, but I like what it does. I like the effect it does. Right now, it seems to be going the wrong direction. So let me move. Oh no, it's going okay. It's actually even stronger than what it was before. Now you can see that when I start the scene, that the effect is not already working. And you might not want that. Maybe in your game, you want, when you start your game, you want it to work right away. The effect for that is when you click in the empty space over here for your particle effect, you can have new settings for your particles. And there's a warm up time. So this is when you press play to start your game, it's going to start your effect, or it's going to have your effect already in your level. So that's very interesting, because if, let's say, you're loading a scene and you want your effect to start off right away, it's already in the middle of it, then you might want that. But be warned, it says that it can do a little bit of stutter, and it can do a little bit of what do I say, itches, which I think it's like small glitches. And for the example, since it's very there's not a lot of stuff in my scene, it seems to work. So let's go over here and put it to and this over here, the update time FPS, I'm not too sure what it does, but when I play with it sometimes and check what it does in the tick. I think I played with it here. What did I do? I just put it to 70. I didn't really see a difference. I'm just playing around. Again, I saw this kind of blizzard effect, and I went through all the motions, and I wanted to understand them so I could explain them to you guys, and this is what I'm doing right now. So we're done for this. Let's go see how it looks in the scene. Press play, and that's pretty nice. So you can see that it's pretty pale. So to be able to play with how pale it is, that's pretty much where I went to choose like the spawn. Like that's why I probably see the spawn. I put it a lot lower, and that's probably why I did it. I went and I put the spawn like really low, so that you could see. And also maybe it's in the color too. I think at one point I'm going at 0.3. Maybe that's too much. Put it at leave it at 0.3, and let's see what that does. Actually, you know what? I'll put this at 0. Yeah, I think that's better. Look what it does. Makes a nice effect. All right, so let's see what that does. Press save, and I go, and you see now that's pretty nice. I'm happy with this. I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty happy with this. And if I checked, yeah, everything is working accordingly. One thing I normally use, I don't know why it didn't require me to do it this time, but normally in the requirement, I put it to rectangle. So let's see what that does when I do that. I think I'm gonna leave it to square, because right now if I put it to rectangle, it's doing a good job. I don't know. From there on, I think you guys pretty much have all the settings to get going. Use local space. When you click on use local space, is if when you're inside your particle, you might want, let's say my scene right now is on the y-axis, but maybe the next scene I'm doing is going to be on the x-axis. So you want to, you see, if I turn it around, now it keeps going in the same direction, and you might not want that. So to be able to fix this, I think that's what it is. When you're a rectangle, you're going to be stuck on the one axis. But if you're in a square, then you're going to be able to do what I just did. So I'm using local space. I saved. I went back to PS square. And I think that's one of the main difference. There's other difference, but I think I go here. You see it's not doing it. It's not adapting to the new. I think I know what does that actually. It's the acceleration. So if I would put this off, because this is not locked axis. So there's a way to move around in this. And again, I managed to fix what I was trying to tell you guys. So now the particle effect, I can turn it on any axis I want, and it's gonna work even though I have the acceleration. And I'm going to show you guys what I did is inside the blizzard. What I thought it was the PSA square and the rectangle, and the fact that I'm using local space. So one of the two was a good answer, but there was something else that I needed to change that I wasn't aware of. Because like I said, there's a million settings, and it's just for you to try them out. So if I take off the use local space, this is what is going to happen. If I take off the local space and then I turn around, you're going to see that it ignores everything. So the local space has to be on. The other thing is, so if I try to play with the rotation, I mean, it won't acknowledge my rotation. Now, the other thing is, inside the acceleration, just like I said in the last episode, the last part, the acceleration is right now going on the y-axis. So even though I was changing it to another part, it would just move right away there. And the reason it would do that is because by default, always in world space is activated. And it says here, treats the acceleration as world space. So if I do that and I go back, you're going to see that anywhere I put it, the acceleration is going to stay on the world space of the y-axis, which is very interesting to know. So now, if I tick, if you have an acceleration module inside your particle effect and you want to be able to move it inside your local space, you have to make sure that the local space is ticked and that the acceleration world space is off. That way, after that, your blizzard can come from any axis you want. You just have to point it in one direction and you're good. We're going to take a short break over here. I'm going to come back and show you guys how to make the next part, which is going to be the flaky little particle. And then we're going to clean everything up together.